Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the presentation of our NEAT Ideas assignment. Today, we are focusing on the topic of mental health stigma for grade 5. I would love for you to meet our team. We are so very excited to get to share this fun and engaging lesson with you. For our learning goals and success criteria, to begin, we have by the end of this lesson, students will use a variety of technological strategies to understand the meaning of mental health stigma. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to understand the appropriate skills to use when they see someone experiencing mental health issues. And as for our success criteria, we are going to be using the carefully planned activities that you will see today in order for students to apply these skills to meet the needs of the learning goal.
Hi everyone, my name is Taylor and I will be going over the Padlet and discussion portion of our project with you. We're going to be using the Padlet as our hook or introduction, and we're going to be using this virtual resource as a virtual KWL chart for our students. Since our topic is on the topic of mental health stigma, the KWL will focus on what students know about mental health stigma, what they want to learn about mental health stigma, and then at a later date, we'll discuss what we learned about mental health stigma. Throughout the duration of our Padlet, we will pause and reflect on student responses so we can have a class discussion on some of their answers. At this point, students will have already had a lesson on internet safety and Padlet etiquette. Potential accommodations for the Padlet would be to allow students who have a hard time typing virtually to use voice to text. We would also give the option of pen and paper if that is what the student preferred. And in order to target our students who are visually impaired or have a hard time hearing, we would ensure our instructions for the Padlet are both said aloud and presented visually.
Hello, we are making a Padlet. So, educators, in this case, you do need to connect your Google account to Padlet, but for students, they just need to be provided either a QR code or a link. So, we are going to make a Padlet, and since we're doing a virtual KWL chart, we're going to click the shelf option. Padlet is going to design it for me, but I can revamp it over here. Since our lesson is on mental health stigma, that will be the title of my Padlet here. I'm going to delete the description. I am going to change my wallpaper here just to create a less distracting setting for my students. One thing that is really important I'd like to mention is this attribution section. I'm going to click this on so I can display the author's name above each post. This is critical because we are going to be using the KWL chart as a diagnostic form of assessment to see what students already know about mental health stigma. So that is very important for us. I'm also going to allow comments so students can interact with one another and filter profanity. Even though students will have already had a lesson on etiquette and internet safety, it's just that little extra safety for us so we don't have to deal with any profanity on here. Um, since we're doing a KWL chart, I need three sections here. So I'm going to have my K. This will be what students know about mental health stigma. I'm going to have my W, and this is what students want to learn about mental health stigma, and my L, what we learned about mental health stigma. So it's important to note that this L will be discussed at a later date because today we're just focusing on what we know and what we want to know. For students to interact, they hit the plus icon. They can create a subject here and attach any media and respond. So for what students know about mental health stigma, someone might say that they know mental health stigma makes those with mental illnesses feel ashamed of having one. Once they're done their post, they can hit publish. Their names will pop up on the screen and others can comment and interact. They were going to be doing this with the know and want columns. And if we want to share this with our students, we can hit the share button and either copy the link to the clipboard, get a QR code, whatever you choose, just so the students can access this link and you can all contribute. Discussions will be had on responses throughout the Padlet, and this will be also discussed during our exit ticket.
For our second activity, we will be doing a Google Slides true and false activity.
On a Google Slides PowerPoint presentation, questions testing students' knowledge about a mental illness and mental health will be presented. The left side of the classroom will be designated for false answers and the right side designated for true answers. When a question is asked, students will walk to one side of the room or the other depending on what they think the answer is. On the next slide, the answer will be given and a short explanation about it will also be given. The first question is true or false? People who have mental illnesses should deal with it on their own. False. Just like a physical illness, treatment for mental illness often needs to be assisted by a professional. Due to the stigma surrounding mental illness, though, people often do not seek the proper help that they need. True or false? People with mental illness are always violent and dangerous. False. People who suffer with mental illness are often, in fact, the victims of violence themselves. Most of the times, mental illness is not a predictor of whether or not someone will be dangerous or violent. True or false? 1 in 3 Canadians will be affected by mental illness in their lifetime. True. 1 in 3 Canadians will be affected by mental illness one way or another in their lifetime. This is equivalent to more than 9 million people. True or false? Having a weak personality and character flaws cause mental health problems. False. There are a variety of factors that contribute to mental illness, including biological factors, brain chemistry, physical illness, family history, life experience, and more.
During this part of the lesson, as a class, we will be taking a look at this wonderful resource Cognito has to offer. Cognito is a website that offers us the opportunity to have various conversations with virtual humans regarding various cases. Today, we will be focusing on our student named Lucas. During the beginning portion of the simulation, the teacher explains Lucas's various behaviors throughout the past few weeks in class. After these are named, I might ask the class a few prompted questions to activate their critical thinking skills, such as why do we think that Lucas might be feeling this way? Why might he be tired or with his head on the desk? This also allows students to make inferences and connections about the case. Later, we come to find out that Lucas's family had endured a terrible fire at their home that changed their lives forever. He is always tired because his parents are fighting about insurance and he is not comfortable in his new home to sleep in. Since we are now aware of Lucas's story, we are given the opportunity to discuss this with him in hopes of making him more comfortable in the classroom. During this time, the students will follow along with the simulation, and we will allow them to choose the speaking points that they think will be most effective. Prompted questions such as, how do we want to respond to Lucas this time, might be asked. The website also has various features that allow for even more discussion in the classroom. The meter in the middle picture portrays Lucas's comfort level after each response. I might ask the students, did we make Lucas more or less comfortable with our response this time? Additionally, the advisory coach at the bottom of the picture also tells us the effectiveness of our response and why it worked so well with the students. I could say to the class, we responded to Lucas by validating his feelings, and it helped him because he noticed that we are showing him empathy and that we truly care. All in all, this is an incredible app that allows students to understand the proper responses when it comes to our classmates' mental health. It allows them to look deeper into some struggles rather than just assuming that they are sleeping in because they are lazy. This ultimately helps eliminate the stigma of mental health. During this time, we will give our students the opportunity to engage in a brain break to get them refocused and ready for our next big activity. This brain break will ultimately be decided by the class based on their interests. Activity number 4 is the Mental Health Stigma Awareness Twitter account. This is considered the final project, where each student will be creating their own account based on the subject they learned in class. Prior to starting this project, students will be reminded about internet safety as it is very important.
Their accounts will also be set to private, so only students, teachers, and parents in the classroom are able to follow the accounts. In addition, the students will already have created a Twitter account prior to this lesson. The students will be shown by the teacher an example of an account and possible idea tweets. The students will be given prompts to answer questions in regards to the tweets they will be posting. They will be required to post 8 different things. 5 of those posts are their own student post, which is using multimedia such as text, videos, pictures, hashtag, GIFs. And they will also be required to have 3 interactions with other classmates' accounts, such as quoting their tweets, commenting, or even setting video responses. The topics that can be discussed are ways to prevent stigma of mental health, one local mental health resource in their own community, and provide motivational quotes when one is feeling down, and even define mental health stigma.
For the rubric, in order to assess this final project portion of the assignment, the rubric is attached at the bottom of our lesson plan, and feel free to take a look at that at the end of our presentation.
The media we're going to be using is Twitter, so the students are already going to have an account created prior to the lesson. I'm just going to review how to use it. So they're going to edit their profiles. They're going to put their name. They can create a bio, add pictures, hashtags, and they can also add a website with local mental health institutions or resources. They're going to change their photos. This can be used by finding images online through the internet and just dragged into the desktop. Once they found their picture, they can add that to their header and adjust it, and then save the picture. The next thing we're going to go is to tweet. This is the main part of the assignment when the students will be choosing what they would like to tweet. They can add pictures, polls, GIFs, and even memes as well. So this will be done through that button there. They can have everyone reply. They can have people see it or only people they have mentioned. This is an example of a tweet that we would have the students use. They would add a brief paragraph about what they're discussing, pictures, hashtags, or they can add a variety of medias, or they could also retweet other of their friends' posts. In the top corner here, we're going to be going to the search bar. This is when they can ask other classmates what their Twitter is and follow them on the account to be able to have some interactions. We're going to go to Miss Mitrevska's account, and we can view she has created a profile as well. We can like those posts, we can retweet those posts if we like, and also quote them. This is another way that students can interact with other students' responses.
Thank you so much for watching our presentation. We hope that we've provided you multiple activities that you can explore mental health stigma with grade 5s with. Thanks so much.